Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Department of Chemistry, and today we are going to discuss about the organic reactions in this upcoming lecture. If you see the digital contents that I have given you, it contains the organic reactions. First of all, if we look at the syllabus, we are having the most important things, that is stability, right? So first of all, we have to deal with stability. In our life, we want to be stable. Chemical reactions also wants to be stable. So we will discuss about the electronic effects that determines the stability of a compound. So what these electronic effects are, if you look at your syllabus, there are 4 different things that are written. That is the inductive effect, there is the resonance effect, hyperconjugation, and electromeric effects, right? You have studied all this in your class 11 syllabus, but I think you have forgotten. So we'll just brush it up and you will have a blast, right? So these 4 things we'll discuss first. After that, we'll move to the chemical reactions because our module is named organic reactions. Na? So we will deal with substitution reactions, right? SN1 and SN2 both are there. Then we'll do elimination, E1 and E2. After that, we'll deal with uncle and auntie. Again, you are confused? Uncle Markovnikov and auntie Markovnikov, that is I am talking about. That is present in addition reactions, right? And also we have the oxidation and reduction. Don't get worried because this is not inorganic part. Here we not have to deal with electrons that are exchanged. Here we will see the knowledge that you have been carrying from class 7 and 8 or 9 level. That is, oxidation means either addition of oxygen or removal of hydrogen, and reduction means addition of hydrogen or removal of oxygen. So the matter of fact is that what resonance effect is. See, resonance means delocalization of pi bonded electrons. Delocalization means whatever electrons are present in a particular bond, they will be delocalized. Now the question arises that there are 2 types of bonds, right? Sigma and pi. So which one preferably will be delocated? Obviously the pi electrons. Why pi electrons? Because the sigma electrons, the sigma bonds are more stronger, so the pi electrons will be delocalized. So another question arises that why this delocalization will be. As you already know that every question has an answer, and in chemistry maximum number of answers contain one single word, that is called stability. So here also the stability factor will come into being. Whenever a charge will be localized on any particular carbon atom or any other atom, if that can be delocalized, the system will be stabilized, right? So this way resonance works. Now it is also called mesomeric effect, and resonance or mesomerism, whatever you say, it is of 2 types. One is plus R effect, another is minus R effect. Plus means donation, so donation of pi electrons through resonance, and another is minus R effect is donation, withdrawal of pi electrons through resonance. So in this lecture, we will see briefly that how electrons, the pi electrons basically, are donated and are withdrawn by different groups. Now what type of groups can do that? If we are concerned about the plus R effect, groups like chloride, hydroxyl, OH, Cl, Br, this all shows plus R effect, whereas aldehyde groups and acid groups show minus R effect, right? So do one thing, you go through the lecture, go through the digital content that I have given, and we'll meet in the class. Thank you. So in this video, we are going to see that what electronic effects are and how the electronic effects are to be dealt with, and what are the factors that are basically determined by the electronic effects, what are the factors that are affected by this particular effects, right? So if we go into the details, we will see multiple things, right? But before that, let us try to imagine that what electronic effects actually are. See, an atom is made up of electrons, protons, neutrons, as we people already know. But from the beginning of the century, or say from the beginning of the last 2 centuries, it was a big question that why atoms undergoes bonding, right? Why these atoms will be bonding, why they will come close towards each other, and why the bonds will be formed, whether it is electrovalent bond or covalent bond or ionic bond, doesn't matter. But question is why bonding will occur, right? Now, in search of this particular question, many answers have been found by different scientists. Now, what these answers are basically, see, every bonding, every friendship rather, actually starts with a need, right? Suppose you need a friend, right, to talk with or something. You need the friend. Why? In order to talk, right? We go to some person, we go to the shop to buy something, right? We we meet someone for some particular reason, right? So there must be a reason for something. So if sodium and chlorine both are coming towards each other and they are making a bond, there must be one relation, there must be one actually intention that why this is happening. And everybody present here, as you people have already completed 11 and 12, you already know very well that sodium and chlorine, when they form NaCl, they used to have a electrovalent bond or ionic bond between them, right? Now, electrovalent bond, as we know, it results due to the attraction of anion and cation. But the question arises, why this anion and cation will be formed? This anion and cation, basically, why it will be formed? It will be formed due to this factor called stability, right? Now, this particular word is very, very important. In the introductory part also, this have been told that stability word is very, very important. Why you people are studying? Why I am teaching? Why the driver is riding the train or bus? Why the shops are open? Why the shopkeeper is present in the shop? Because of stability, nothing else. Everybody wants to be stable in life, right? So similarly, as we people are chemical compounds also wants to be stable. Now, how they can be stable? By exchange of electrons, they can be stable. By whatever they need, if they get that, then they can be stable. So like this, everything is happening. Now, how the chemical compounds will be stable? Now, whenever NaCl is, whenever we are discussing about NaCl, then that is actually inorganic compound. But here we are studying about organic chemistry, right? So here we cannot say that NaCl is undergoing this, NaCl is undergoing that. In this particular lecture, we are going to see basically that what these organic compounds are, how these organic compounds are being affected by the stability, and how the stability will be governed. Now, in search of this particular question or this particular phrase, we have come across certain effects which are called electronic effects, right? So this is the origination of electronic effects, that if the reaction is happening, if the compound is stable, if the compound is existing, then there must be some sort of activity within it, right? Now, this activity will be due to electrons, and the particular effect will be called electronic effect, okay? Now, let us move into the factors that affect the stability of a compound. As you can already see, that the factors that affect the stability of a compound are called electronic effects, okay? Now, electronic effects, what is the meaning of this thing? We people have already discussed. Now, question arises, how many types of electronic effects are there? In your class 11, in the chapter called Basic Concepts of Organic Chemistry, that was chapter 12, I think you people still remember, that in that particular chapter you have come across for the first time about these particular things which are called electronic effects, right? So basically there are 4 effects. First one is inductive effect, second one is resonance effect, third one is hyperconjugation, fourth one is electromagnetic effect. Now, if you go into the BTech syllabus, you will see that electromagnetic effect is not there, only inductive effect is there, resonance effect is there, hyperconjugation is there, right? But if you are studying all the 3, then why we are leaving behind the 4? So we will study all 4, whether question comes or not, doesn't matter. See, studying does not hampers anything, okay? It just increases your knowledge. So we will study all the 4 things, right? We will study inductive effect, followed by resonance effect, followed by hyperconjugation, last but not least, electromagnetic effects, okay? So if we go for inductive effect, what we people are seeing, see, basically inductive effect is very different from all the other effects. It is the very first effect. Why? Why it is the first effect? Because it deals with sigma bonds, okay? Now, as we people can see, suppose A and B, 2 atoms are coming together. Now, these 2 will get bonded. So the first bond will be sigma or pi? The answer will be sigma, right? So always the first bond is sigma, second, third are pi, right? So sigma bond is a basic bond that can happen within a molecule, okay? So basically, this inductive effect deals with the sigma bond. How? That is written here on the screen. The inductive effect is the effect charge of the chemical bond has an orientation on the adjacent bond in the molecule. What the meaning of this phrase is? It is nothing but if a positive and a negative, rather we should say if an electropositive or an electronegative elements are bonded together by a single covalent bond, which is also called sigma bond, then what will happen? The electronegative substituent will try to draw the electron clouds towards itself, okay, in such a way that the electronegative part will become partially negative and the electropositive part will become partially positive, right? Basically, we use delta plus and delta minus to show these particular things, okay? So gradually in the lecture when we will proceed, we will see about these things in details. Here we are having that inductive effect is of two types. First one is plus I effect, second one is minus I effect, okay? So we will gradually move into the fact that what is plus I effect and what is minus I effect. Now whenever an electronegative atom will be joined to a chain of atoms, right? Suppose there is a carbon chain, 3, 4, 5, 6 carbons are present, okay? And at the end there is an electronegative group. Say we are having pentyl chloride, right? CH3, CH2, 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 Cl. Okay. Now Cl is at one end and all the CH are at the other end, right? So Cl definitely is electronegative or electron withdrawing group. So what it will do? It will try to attract the electrons from the nearby CH2 group, right? The nearby CH2 group will attract electron from its immediate neighbor CH2 group. In this way, what we are going to see, we will see that gradually the electrons will move on and on and on towards the Cl. Now, if this movement is complete, then the bond will break, right? So this movement is not complete because the compound is existing and the bond is not breaking, right? So this movement is definitely not complete. It is rather partial movement of sigma bonded electrons or sigma bonded electron clouds towards the more electronegative element from the less electronegative element, or we can say towards the electron withdrawing group from the electron donating group, right? So this is what we can say. Next, we people will move from plus I effect, we move towards plus I effect and minus I effect. Now what is plus I effect? So whenever there is plus sign in this electronic effects part, right? Whenever you use a plus sign, always remember plus means donation and definitely minus means acceptance or withdrawal, right? So whenever electrons are donated by any group, it is said to be having plus I effect. For example, suppose all alkyl groups are having plus I effect. Ethyl, methyl, propyl, butyl, all the groups are having plus I effect, and every group will donate electrons to its nearby element, which may be having minus I effect. Similarly, if we go into the fact that what is minus I effect, we will see that different groups like chlorine, bromine, iodine, hydroxyl group, acid group, aldehyde group, all these groups are having minus I effect. So whenever suppose we are having CH3, CH2, Cl, then what will happen? Cl will attract the electrons. Whenever we are having CH3, CH2OH, OH will attract the electrons. What we will be having? We'll having partial negative charge on this OH or Cl, and we'll be having partial positive charge on the other two, right? So next what we are having? We are having relative inductive effect, right? So what is relative inductive effect? What is the meaning of the word relative? Tell me. Relative means whenever one relative comes to your home, right? What do you say? Is relative or not? Yes or no? Relative. What is the meaning of the word relative? Tell me. Relative means something which can be related with, right? For example, whenever say suppose two groups are there, say Cl and Br are bonded together, right? You have never seen this type of compounds, I guess, but ICl3, IBr5, this type of compound exists. Okay, and it is not the fact that you have never seen, you have definitely seen, whether you have studied or not, you have definitely encountered this type of elements. Where I am telling you, they were present in class 12, chapter number, I guess, chapter 7, I guess, P block elements, yes, and there this type of compounds were present, which are called interhalogen compounds. Okay, these interhalogen compounds are present there, right? Now, if we see that what these type of compounds are, we will be seeing that there are compounds which are made up totally of halogens. And this type of compounds, if we try to find out that which one is plus R, which one is minus R, you will see both are minus R. Now, minus and minus, like charges repel each other, how they can form the compound? The question will arise. So, this type of relation or order is required to understand that whether which one is donating and which one is accepting. As we can see here, see Cl and I, if we compare these two, we are having Cl is more electronegative or Cl is having more inductive effect than I. So whenever Cl and I will be bonded, I will be electron donating and Cl will be electron withdrawing, right? So this is the importance of relative inductive effect to us. Basically, this type of order is very, very important whenever we are determining a reaction rate or something, because there the stability question will arise, and this stability question will be answered by this order only, right? Okay. Now, one picture will come. That picture will show the different type of stabilities of this carbocations depending on inductive effect. As we people know, that inductive effect means donation of electrons. Now, if it means donation of electrons, then the question arises that the donation is good or bad, right? See, whenever suppose you are having there are 4 conditions. Just try to imagine there are 4 conditions. In the first condition, there are 4 days of a week, right? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Okay. Now, in these 4 days, you are forgetting to take, or you are unable to take your lunch with you at the college, right? Okay. Now, you are coming without lunch. For this 4 days, canteen is also off. So, there is no way to eat out, right? Now, on Monday, you are having no friends. So, the whole day you are starving, right? No food. On Tuesday, you got one friend, right? And that friend has shared his lunch with you. So, you have got something with you, right? On Tuesday. On Wednesday, you have got 2 friends, and these 2 friends have shared their lunch with you. And on the last, that is Thursday, right? On the last day, you have got 3 friends, and these 3 friends are sharing their lunch with you. Now, on which day you will be more happy as far as this food and lunch is concerned? On which day you will be more happy? Everything, or everybody will answer that the day is Thursday, right? Because you are getting more food from more persons, more varieties of food, right? So, if donation comes from 3 persons, it is best. If donation comes from 2 persons, it is good. Okay. If donation comes from 1 person, it is okay. And if donation comes from none, it is not good or bad, right? So, if you see at this particular picture, you will see whenever carbocations are present, carbocation means carbon with lack of electrons, right? Now, if you have lack of electrons and if somebody is coming and donating electrons to you, then you will be happy, right? As it is. So, whenever these electrons are coming, and if this carbon is having no plus R effect, just like methyl carbocation, then it will be less stable. If primary carbocation is there with 1 alkyl group, 1 donor, it is good, is okay. If secondary is there with 2 donors, it is good. If tertiary is there with 3 donors, then it will be best, right? So, 3 degree carbon is more stable than 2 degree, which in turn is more stable than 1 degree, and which in turn is more stable than methyl cation. Okay, so this was all about our inductive effects, right? Next, we'll move to resonance or mesomerism, right? So, what is resonance or mesomerism? It's a very important thing, and huge number of questions comes from. Okay. So, what is resonance? If we see, the definition of resonance will imply that it is nothing but delocalization of pi bonded electrons, right? If you have loosely bound electrons, lone pairs, pi electrons, then delocalization of this particular electrons, if it is possible, then the process is called resonance, right? So, this is the answer basically, and there is one term called resonance hybrid. What this resonance hybrid will show you, this resonance hybrid basically is nothing but combination of different resonating structures. Okay, if you combine all the resonating structures, then you will see one combined structure will come, which is called resonance hybrid, right? Now in resonance also there is plus R effect and minus R effect, and the answer is nothing but plus R effect means donation of pi bonded electrons through resonance, and minus R effect means withdrawal of or acceptance of pi bonded electrons through resonance, right? Now we need to see that how this plus R and minus R effect occurs, because this type of question comes in the exam, right? Now one thing is very important here, that between inductive effect and resonance effect, which one provides more stability to the compound? The answer is nothing but resonance effect, okay? And one important fact is that resonance effect is also called mesomedism. I have seen people doesn't knowing that the word mesomedism is nothing but resonance. When the question comes what is mesomeric effect, people are saying that we don't know. It's not like that they are not knowing. Definitely they will know, right? The matter is resonance and mesomerism are same, okay? So resonance effect and mesomeric effects are also same, right? Okay, so let us see the resonance in chlorobenzene. Now see, whenever electron donating groups will be there, we will get proper resonance plus R effect, right? Electron donating group, just like groups are having a lone pair of electrons responds towards this electron donating effect, right? Okay, now this type of groups are, if we take one example of this type of group, it is chlorobenzene. In chlorobenzene, we are having the Cl atom, which actually has 3 pair of electrons, 3 pair of Lewis electrons or Lewis dot electrons, right, which may participate in resonance. So if Cl is participating, the similar thing will happen for iodine, fluorine and bromine also, right? So we will see resonance in this chlorobenzene, and if we move from this particular thing, we will see resonance in aniline, right? Aniline, here also aniline means resonance benzene with NH2 group. So NH2 group is having 1 lone pair of electrons which can be resonated, which can be donated. Same thing will happen with phenol also, because phenol is having OH and in that oxygen is having 2 lone pairs, right? And same thing will happen for anisole also, because anisole is nothing but benzene with OCH3, and there also oxygen is having 2 lone pair of electrons which actually undergoes resonance, right? Now how resonance happens, you will see gradually the electrons will be coming one by one and alternative transfer of bonds will occur. For example, if you see in this aniline, right, what is happening? First nitrogen is donating its lone pair of electrons. Now this lone pair of electrons are coming to the immediate carbon, okay? Now this minus is coming down as a bond and the nearby bond will go up as a minus, okay? So gradually in this way the electrons are rotating. See, it is just like riding a bicycle. That means it requires huge number of practice, okay? And we'll do that practice, don't worry about it. But you have also done this in class 11, right? It's very simple, but we need to practice this out. Similarly, if we go for minus R effect, minus R means acceptance or withdrawal. We people have already discussed acceptance or withdrawal of pi electrons through resonance is called minus R effect or minus M effect also. Now, this minus R effects will be nitrobenzene, minus R effect groups actually will be nitrobenzene. We are having benzoic acid, COOH group is minus R effect group, NO2 is minus R effect group, CHO is minus R effect group, okay? So we will see the resonances of this particular thing. Here also what will happen, see, a plus charge will be generated into the benzene ring, okay? And this particular thing will rotate, and as plus is generated in benzene, that means electron has been withdrawn from the benzene, so it is minus R effect. And previously we have seen that a minus charge has been initiated in the benzene, that means electron has been donated towards benzene, hence it is plus R effect, right? Okay, so this was all about our inductive effect and resonance effect. Now after inductive and resonance effect, we are having hyperconjugation, which is also a very important thing and which is in turn very much different from these two, right? Now why it is different, why we are saying that it is different, this is a very interesting story, right? Now what this story is, see, hyperconjugation actually is called no bond resonance. Why? It is called no bond resonance, rather we can say it is called no pi bond resonance, okay? Now, what is this no pi bond resonance or no bond resonance? No bond resonance means nothing but no pi electrons are used for resonance. So that here sigma electrons are used for resonance. So if we see one picture will be coming shortly, right? And that picture will show that what happens in hyperconjugation basically. You can see in this picture that we are having the ethyl radical, and in this ethyl radical here what is happening? Basically one plus charge is generated first. Now this particular plus charge is rotating on the heads of these three hydrogens. Okay, so the plus charge on carbon is distributed among three hydrogens. Now if hydrogen is H plus, that means the bond it has made with the carbon is broken, right? So here what is happening? It is toggling the sigma bond between the the three hydrogens are toggling the sigma bond with the carbon, right? So this particular thing is called hyperconjugation. Okay, no need to be hyper about it, because hyperconjugation is nothing. It is not a matter to be hyper about. Okay, it is very, very simple, and it is a permanent effect. Always remember these three effects we have spoken about: resonance effect, inductive effect, and hyperconjugation. These all three are permanent effects, right? But the fourth one, electromagnetic effect, will be a temporary effect. Okay, this type of question also comes. That's why I am speaking about this. Next, if we move into some more details, what we will see, there is an important thing which is called stability of carbocations by this hyperconjugation phenomenon. Okay, now how we are predicting the stability of the carbocations by this hyperconjugation phenomenon? See, if more and more the number of hydrogens are staying, number of beta hydrogens rather, beta hydrogen means the carbon which is having plus is called alpha, immediate neighbor carbon is beta, and the hydrogen present on this beta carbon are called beta hydrogens. Okay, now if these beta hydrogens are more, the stability will be more, right? The maximum beta hydrogen, as carbon can do maximum 4 bonds, and in plus condition it can do maximum 3 bonds. So maximum it can be tertiary butyl cation. Tertiary butyl contains 9 hydrogens. So it is having the maximum hyperconjugation stability, followed by this propyl, followed by ethyl. Okay, so 9, then 3, 6, then 3. Okay, 9 hydrogens present in tertiary butyl, so it is most stable, followed by 6 hydrogens in propyl, isopropyl rather. So it is moderately stable. Then there is ethyl cation with 3 hydrogens, which will be least stable, right? Okay, so this was all about hyperconjugation, and next we are going to see what is electromeric effect. Now this particular effect is also called tautomer mechanism or conjugative mechanism, because here also what happens, this effect, I have already told you that this is a temporary effect, and this effect will only exist in presence of an attacking reagent, right? So here positive and negative electromagnetic effect is shown just after this. Okay, there you will see that in positive electromagnetic effect we are having H plus, and in negative electromagnetic effect we are having Cn minus, right? So this H plus and Cn minus are nothing but attacking reagent, and in presence of this particular things only, this particular effect called electromagnetic effect will happen, otherwise not. Okay, in presence of attacking reagent, in absence of attacking reagent, this particular effect will not exist, but in presence of attacking reagent, this particular effect will exist. Okay, now as you can see here, what is happening, the bond is being broken in such a way that the attacking reagent is added. Okay, in the first case, in the positive inductive effect, positive charge will be generated as predicted before also, and in the negative electromagnetic effect, the negative charge will be generated as I have already told you, right? So this was all about positive and negative electromagnetic effect, and this was all about the electronic effects, that is inductive effect, resonance, hyperconjugation, and electromagnetic effect. Okay, so just go through the complete video, see it multiple times, practice resonance, and if you have any problem, just call me, contact me, we will discuss about it, right? So till the next lecture comes here, next lecture will contain some more details about organic chemistry, right? Till then, thank you so much.